Hey guys, Claire here, and in today's video, we're going to talk about all things Harry and Meghan. For the month of October, we've had a multitude of Sussex sightings, and the most recent is the family at a pumpkin patch. The Sussexes are getting into the fall spirit. With Halloween just around the corner, Harry and Meghan went on a pumpkin picking adventure with Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Harry and Mama Doria were even seen getting into the holiday spirit by carving some of those pumpkins. Now, Meghan's friend Tracy was also there with her family, and although we don't see her in Meghan's video, Tracy also shared some photos of her kids at the same pumpkin patch on the same day. It's so wonderful to see Harry and Meghan and the kids carry on that tradition. We previously saw Meghan and Archie running in the maze years before, and when it comes to Princess Lilibet, well, she always looks pretty in pink. Now Meghan, or the official As Ever brand page, has shared even more videos hinting at the product drops for October 28th. Now, some have been theorizing that perhaps it's champagne and strawberry spread, and also recently shared a new holiday-themed video. So, along with the spread and champagne, perhaps some more holiday-themed products. Can't wait. Besides being featured in Meghan's latest pumpkin carving video, Mama Doria was also seen attending the makeup mogul Anastasia's Raising Brow book launch, which was hosted by Oprah. Now, the next host for the upcoming Invictus Games is still undecided. Now, San Diego is in the final stretch to submit its bid to host the 2029 Invictus Games, and local athletes are rallying together to bring Prince Harry's Invictus Games to San Diego. Now, NBC7 recently spoke to a retired U.S. Navy officer and a team member of Invictus, Team USA.
San Diego athletes are trying to rally support to bring an international sports competition to our region.
Really well-respected one. NBC7's Shondell Moniz met up with a Team USA competitor to hear what hosting the Invictus Games would mean to San Diego.
Training for the Invictus Games looks a lot like how it does for any other international sport, right? Blood, sweat, and tears, a year's worth of training. This one just comes with some extra legs for support.
4 legs, actually. Come on. For Team USA's Giselle Rama.
Hugo is my replacement for a cane. Hugo grounds me the way other things can't.
The retired naval officer was near an explosion 5 years ago that blew her body back and she hit her head. Her traumatic brain injury and PTSD recovery led her to both adaptive sports and the Invictus Games.
Picture this. 550 competitors battling it out in really exciting competitions such as wheelchair basketball, rugby. I don't know if you've been around a lot of military people, but we like to win, right? Every branch likes to win. Every branch likes to say that they're best. But what happens with that as well is that you get to see people like you doing incredibly difficult things. I'm not supposed to be able to snowboard. I'm not supposed to get too many hits in the head. I actually can't feel a large percent of my leg.
Yet here she is, snowboarding in this year's Vancouver, Canada hosted games.
Now remember, 6 cities and regions have submitted expressions of interest to host the 2029 Games. That's Denmark, Italy, Nigeria, Republic of Korea, Ukraine, and San Diego. Now, I know where I'd like to see the next games be hosted. I'm sort of on Team Korea. I'd like to see it being hosted there for the 2029 Games, but you guys let me know which country or city gets your vote. And before I forget, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for all your birthday wishes in my last video. I appreciate them all. And there's so many of you who celebrate the same birthday. So happy belated birthday to you guys as well. I tried to answer in the comment section, but I'm running a little bit behind. So I'll work my way through the comments, but just want to take a moment to say thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Mwah. Now, let's get back to it. Now, the conversations about Prince Andrew continues to roar on, but the thing that I've found is that the conversation seems to be twisting towards his titles and his lodging, and not enough about the accusations made towards him and pressure for him to cooperate with law enforcement. Nonetheless, in a recent poll, apparently support for the monarchy has slipped below 50%. Now, you guys know how I feel about polls, but I'm sure some people are not happy about that. Oh well.
The thrust of your argument is that we cannot let daylight in on magic, that the royal family only exist if you shield them. Broader point about the royal family might be true, actually.
I think
you have to draw the curtains on them.
I think it is. Warts and all, when you see them, it cease to be special. Why do we put the same family on a pedestal, treat them with kid gloves, lots of deference, and no accountability?
By God, I think they finally got it. And his bit about the shielding, yeah, obviously. Beyond the pomp and pageantry and the press propaganda, if you really look beyond all of those things, beyond the facade, then you'll see that they've only really been able to persist because of the press. Because people have been conditioned by the press, by the palace, for years to see value. But when you look at the funds that they take versus the service that they provide, it's lacking. It's not substantive. And that's been the problem with the British royal family. And instead of really working on those key factors, they choose scapegoats to distract from the scandals.
And our lawyers would like to emphasise that His former Royal Highness has given £12 million of his mum's money to someone he's never met before and renounced all his titles for something he didn't do with the same person he's never met before at the house of someone he was only friends with, to be polite.
Yikes. That really just shows how much and for how long the former monarch and current monarch has been covering for Andrew.
The subhead of this article about Princess Beatrice and Eugenie says, as their parents' scandals rage on, the princesses occupy a unique position in the royal family, with 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Oh my God, I thought we weren't allowed to have a half in, half out situation. So it's really interesting to see the British media say that these two have a half in, half out situation when they wouldn't let Harry and Meghan do the same. You know, Prince Harry, the son of the king, not the nieces of the king. So why do Eugenie and Beatrice get a deal that Harry and Meghan could not have? Is it because, they're both white and they both married white men? It couldn't be that, could it? Do you really think it couldn't be that? Because that's exactly what it is.
But personally, I'm glad that they're not there. If Harry and Meghan were still within the firm, I can only imagine the stories that would have been coming out about Meghan, about Harry, about their kids to distract from this. Because for years, Meghan has told us, Harry has told us, certain people within the family, issues arise and suddenly there's stories about Harry and Meghan, especially Meghan. And we saw that they were all too willing to start writing negative stories about Prince Archie before he was even born. They were already writing articles skewing negative about a baby that hadn't even been born yet. And as soon as he was born, what did that person from the BBC post? The person who said no to the half in, half out, kudos to you. That's a blessing in disguise.
Look, it's a form of welfare for one family that is always going to sit at the top. And for instance, there was no inheritance tax paid when the late Queen died. It went to her fortune went to Charles. We think it was 700-800 million, not quite sure, because wills are sealed and they aren't made public like everybody else's wills. Look, they get a lot of privileges, and their role really is to somehow give a gloss to unearned wealth, privilege, and power. And I objected, and you get the whole family. If we elected a meet and greeter, a president, or somebody like, say, J.K. Rowling, if she wished to stand, if William and Kate or Charles wants to stand, you can vote for them, but you decide. But you only get the person. Here you get the whole family, the baggage. You get the family. We don't need a family. You don't need to spend hundreds of millions of pounds on somebody to meet and greet and hand out medals and so on. We could elect somebody. Ireland's having an election now. They had a poet last time. I don't know who they'll have this time, but they do it in a very different way. Most countries around the world that are democracies do.
Absolutely correct. The longer this thing with Andrew persists, it's going to continue to chip away at the royal family. Because there's more and more people coming to the realization that, yeah, they had to have known, and they've gone out of their way to protect this. Now, could you imagine if more and more people started to think like that fellow? And then you have the reign of a William and a Kate. Now, we know they don't like to work, and from what William has told us, he's planning to slim down the monarchy even more and work behind the scenes. You have to be seen to be believed. Queen Elizabeth was right about that.
So this Prince Andrew thing, I'm just noticing that the people who were very exercised about Harry and Meghan, they were very upset, sort of frothing at the mouth. How dare Harry and Meghan bring the royal family into disrepute? I've looked at those same people's accounts and I'm not seeing the same energy for Prince Andrew. Why might that be? Because they were very, very, very angry. And they just don't seem to be as angry about someone who said to a prolific "we'll play again soon" and paid off one of his accusers, what was it here? I think £12 million, and is currently living in a 30-room Royal Lodge mansion on public land despite losing royal duties, for which we, the taxpayer, are probably paying for. Did they ever do anything that was comparable to this? Where's the frothing at the mouth, so upset that he's brought the royal family into disrepute? Where is it? Because I haven't seen it. It's strange, because I've checked those same accounts, and there's just almost total silence. Why might that be?
Yep.
Finally, some decent journalists, this time from The Telegraph, a very well-respected media outlet in the UK, are on the royal case. Not all the royals, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Royals blocked scrutiny of Prince Andrew's peppercorn rent. Of course they did. If there's a few things we know about the royal family, right? Deflection, diversion. They do not want the British taxpaying public to know the truth about any of their financial arrangements and any of their taxation arrangements. It's as simple as that. They do the minimum amount of work to get the maximum amount of money, and there's no accountability. And we've seen that from the published documents about Andrew. But what about Edward? What about Anne? I'll tell you what we're going to find out in the UK, all you taxpayers, and this includes me. All these people will have been living in these palaces. They are literally country estates, and they will have been paying, if they pay anything, they will have been paying less than 10% of the true market value. I reckon Edward's been paying about £40,000 a year for his, and that is absolutely scandalous. That could have been rented out to some foreign sheikh, some foreign dignitary, for literally millions of pounds per year. It's a palace in the countryside. The British taxpayer has been fleeced and is being fleeced. The tide's turning. All this data is now going to start to come out, and you will find out, UK taxpayer, just how much you are subsidising the royals' lifestyles via these incredibly cheap rents or zero rents. And I've also noticed, royalists, where are you in the comments? Where have all the royalists gone?
Where indeed?
The temptation is to accept something, and that's human nature. But it's particularly bad in the royal family when there is a general sense of entitlement, which has run through centuries of the royal family. And by the way, it doesn't run through royal families in Europe. They're quite different. If you look at the Scandinavian royal families and the Benelux countries, I mean, they don't behave in that way. It's only the British royal family that still behaves in this kind of imperial way, as the Russian Tsar would have done, or the German Emperor, or the Austrian-Hungarian Emperor, or the French King. They're still in that mentality, that mindset from centuries ago.
Is that because they have more powers? I think those royal families are sort of only there to wave, aren't they?
Well, because I think they've accepted nowadays in the Benelux countries and Scandinavian countries that they are in democracies, and they are figureheads who are there for a very limited purpose. We've accepted that.
I feel like for the rest of Charles's reign and into the reign of William, you're going to see more and more of these royal reporters continue to poke and prod a little bit more. And especially if William continues to try to use American media and bypass the rota, that's going to piss him off. And you know how they get when they feel like they've been slighted.
Family meeting. I am here and I'm listening to Nobody Girl, the Virginia Giuffre book, and this is absolutely heartbreaking. I'm only 4 chapters in, and she is already sharing the hard life that she's lived. I'm glad that this book was published. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people, and I'm sure it was cathartic for her to write. But this is going to be detrimental to the palace as they try to distance themselves, and Andrew as they try to distance himself, because what this does is this truly humanizes her in a way that she's no longer this person, she's no longer this accuser. You are hearing what she has experienced and how she has been taken advantage of. And it is absolutely heartbreaking. And I haven't gotten to certain points yet, but while we are humanizing her, while it is humanizing to her, it is also going to be detrimental to those who abused her, because then they will be seen as the monsters they are. This is not business as usual, and it's unfortunate that it takes books to reveal what's really going on versus the narrative that the palace has made for itself, and many people have bought hook, line, and sinker. It's books like these that really show what's going on and who the people are behind the walls of the palace and under the crowns and the tiaras, that they are not the elite in integrity as they would have us believe, but we're seeing the underbelly of it all. Trigger warning, if you're going to read this, it's a lot. And again, I'm only in chapter 4, and I've already been gobsmacked a few times.
Have you guys read the book? Are you reading the book? Do you intend to read the book? I haven't, and I'm interested in reading it, but from all the reviews that I've read and the things that I've heard, it sounds like it's really heavy. And I am not in a mental state to handle heavy and depressing right now. In a lot of ways, with everything going on, sometimes I disassociate. And that is my coping mechanism to make it to the next day. That and a lot of prayer. So I would read the book, but I don't think that I'm going to be reading it anytime soon. If you have read the book, what do you think so far?
Just when we all thought that Sarah Ferguson, the former Duchess of York, emailing Jeffrey Epstein calling her a supreme friend would be the worst ever, Caroline Graham for the Daily Mail has now an exclusive story talking about how Epstein has been bankrolling her for 15 years and that she took daughters to celebrate him being released from prison. Mind you, he was in prison. And you're going to bring your 2 teenage daughters who are around the same age as so many of victims to celebrate? What is going on up here? Like, it continues with emails seen by the Mail show that Epstein paid off debts for the Duchess owed a former employee, but became angry when she failed to pay him back as promised. She don't have enough money. What do you think she was going to pay you back with? And while disavowing him in public, she kept up contact and let him help set up a charity for her. And he gave her talking points before she was interviewed by Oprah. Here has a quote. It says, the emails offer more proof that Fergie continued to suck up to Epstein despite publicly disavowing him. On August 1st, 2011, Epstein wrote, when you first got in trouble, you said to me, Jeffrey, I know that as I told everyone, you're either on the team or off. I knew you were always on my team. That was right. The Duchess responded, I am on yours and you on mine with great love and strength. What is wrong with this woman? This is weird. I'm sorry. If I knew someone who got a charge for assaulting anybody, but especially a cut off, we're not emailing. And also, girl, you're going to sit there and email and create actual proof? What is wrong with you? On January 16, 2010, Sarah wrote, is there any chance I could borrow 50 or 100,000 US dollars to help get through the small bills that are pushing me over? He had to ask, what small bills? How do you have $50 to $100,000 of debt? For what? And while I know she's not working royal, she wasn't getting paid by the public, but it's not like she had major expenses. She lived with Andrew. Her kid's education was going to be paid for, period. She didn't have to worry about that. What bills do you have? You wearing couture or something? I think what pisses me off is that it's like, you're already, like, well, I don't want to say but you were in the British royal family, you've that up. But you were already in the upper echelon of king society, but you're so obsessed with money that you're friends with. Learn to balancing checkbook. Like in 2010, her was like 50 or like almost 50. Grown enough to know better, to not be in such debts that you're having to borrow money from all these sorts of people. I mean, even just the gall to ask somebody for 50 to 100K is crazy to me. I don't even ask my friends for $50 to $100. Like, what?
I love that Princess Meghan and Prince Harry are just getting on with life. She's at Godmother's bookstore. She's putting out, watch out for October 28th. There's going to be a release. They're just living their life while over the pond, all this mess is happening. And I really love that they are just chilling in California. Because if they were over the pond in the UK, we all know what would be happening right now. They would be used. Even though their names are being mentioned right now, they're not over there. They're not part of that mess. They're on a different continent on the other side of the world, chilling. And I love that for them.
Hi, this is for my UK people and my UK people only. If you still have a problem with the Duchess of Sussex, aka Meghan Markle, Prince Harry's wife, you guys are actually the problem. You literally have a in the royal family who is getting paid off of your tax money through the family, through the monarchy. They knew he was a problem since Coup Stark. They've known this man has been a problem forever. Mommy's gone. He's still been a problem. Stuff came out in the book. Fergalicious is a grifter. She's been doing books and Weight Watchers commercials and TV shows and books and God knows what else. I think she was hawking something on QVC at one point. I don't remember because it's been so much. There's been all these issues and all these problems with multiple members of your family that you're paying the tax dollars for. And y'all still coming at the biracial black woman who left your alone 6 years ago and left, and her husband wanted to go. She didn't make him do anything that he didn't already want to do. Y'all need to find something to do. What you need to do is figure out how to convict him. You cannot equate Harry and Meghan leaving obviously an openly toxic family. They are off your taxpayers' money. Your money pays for nothing that they do. They're making their own way. They're making their own money. As a matter of fact, I just about bought out the As Ever brand. I hope Archwell continues to thrive. I will buy any book they put out. I will watch any TV show that they do, and I will support them as best that I can as an individual person. No, baby, you cannot equate the two. You need to stop. And you're showing your racism. Because at this point, you can't say it's anything but she's been gone for 5+ years. Get over it. Leave her alone.
Here's a difference between scandal and spectacle. A scandal is abuse, corruption, and cover-ups. A spectacle is the royal PR machinery trying to convince you that Meghan's earrings are more offensive than Andrew's friends. The monarchy has always thrived on confusion, so they blend gossip with governance. So the public can't tell the difference. It's why Harry and Meghan's dramas were magnified. They were safe distractions. It's why, say, Meghan goes to Paris Fashion Week and everything's amazing. They try to invent dramas around her presence. because they know the public only look at the headlines and they can't tell the difference. But Andrew, on the other hand, now that is radioactive because his scandal doesn't just hurt the Crown's image, it exposes how that image was built in the first place. It was built on protection, it was built on privilege, and it was built on silence. And that's the problem with every old institution out there, whether it's a palace-built institution or a palace-based institution or a luxury brand. They mistake being talked about for being trusted, and they think attention equals admiration. It doesn't. So Harry and Meghan's spectacle kept the family relevant, and Andrew's scandal is showing us what it really costs to stay that way.
Elizabeth always gets it right.
Camilla met the Pope at the Vatican this week, and this is what she wore. So as you can see, she's given early Halloween, she's given Maleficent vibes. And yes, while it is tradition for royal women to wear black to meet the Pope, this is just given a little bit over the top because nobody asked for this. And of course, it's known that the royal women, especially, from the UK, do use fashion to send messages and to court positive PR. But Camilla, honey, what is this? What are we doing here? Is this couture? Is this, what is it? For me, this wasn't elegance. This was costume. But maybe it fits because the monarchy's entire legacy is about performance, dressing for virtue while living the exact opposite. And Camilla made the metaphor literal. Because when the crown meets couture, the costume always tells on the character.
Does anyone else think it's weird that just as Virginia Giuffre's book's about to be released, Prince Andrew decides to relinquish his titles? But he's not sorry. No, because of course he's done nothing wrong. He's just decided it's the right thing to do, to stop him from being a distraction from the work of the royal family. Not much to be distracted from really, is there? Unless it's from Prince William and Princess Kate visiting a farm to roll out some pastry. Or from the Green King Charles flitting around in his helicopter to say hello to a few people. I mean, it's lucky he had time in his busy schedule to fit in a meeting with his brother to tell him he was going to lose his titles. I wonder what King Charles was thinking. Is he worried about losing his title? You know, seeing as he too was friends with a prolific... So although Prince Andrew is going to be giving up his titles, he's still going to be a prince. How does that work? Oh, I just realised I shouldn't have called him Prince Andrew, should I? He's not Prince Andrew anymore. Or what is he? Have you got any suggestions? I've seen a few. My favourite so far is Sandrew. What's yours?
It seems that old Prince Andrew really was a naughty pest. He must be punished, yes of course, the king is not impressed. Let's strip him of his title, yes with Duke he must depart. And surely Prince as well, no that would break his little heart. Okay, let's take his mansions. My God, have you gone crazy? Where will the poor man sleep or host his parties with his ladies? At least let's take his cars away. No, those have got to stay. His Bentley just turned 17 and that's his favourite age. If we let him off this lightly, doesn't that make us look bad? Maybe, but his friend Jeffrey died and he's still feeling sad.
And with that, we've come to the conclusion of today's video. Wherever you guys are, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell.